Last week, I asked AI to plan a YouTube launch for me, and I got exactly what you would expect: 12 beautiful pages of completely useless plans. And then, even when I tried to follow up and send more messages to clarify, it eventually just felt like it would be easier to do it myself. Does that sound familiar? Well, what if I told you I then took the exact same project and I ran it through an AI playbook that I wrote, and in minutes, I had a plan that I could not only actually use, but was specific and accurate enough that I blindly followed it. And everything went great and according to plan. That gap between the generic AI output and an AI that actually runs your playbook is the entire game that most people have no idea exists. In this video, I'm going to show you what happens when you stop treating AI just like a chatbot and you start teaching it how you actually work using what I call playbooks. Now, I'm going to use project planning as an example because it's a process that we all do all the time, like it or not. But by the end of this video, you're going to see playbooks everywhere, in your meetings, in your reporting, in your daily routine. Like every piece of operational work that is eating hours out of your day that you don't even think about, you're going to see that you could playbook that. And if you've been thinking, maybe AI just isn't good enough at stuff yet, maybe I need AI agents, maybe I need my AI to be connected to all my tools and all my context, and then it'll actually be good at this stuff, you're not completely wrong. But today I'm going to show you that you're also not right. Because it's not that AI can't do those things yet, it's just that you can't get AI to do that yet. So first, let's talk about how most people plan projects today. You have option one, where you do it by hand, where you might open up a blank document and you start typing and you try to sort through everything that comes to mind about how to plan that project. And 30 minutes later, you have something that looks like a plan, but you already know that you probably forgot something. Now, option two is, of course, using AI. You go into chat and you say, help me plan my YouTube launch, and it starts spitting out a bunch of information that looks relevant. But then when you start reading it, you're like, this is not what I wanted. And so you scroll through it all and you might go back and forth for a bit, but eventually you just give up because you're like, this is not what I need. This is not the project plan I'm looking for. Well, let me show you what changes everything. So again, let's say I'm planning a launch, but this time I'm not going into my AI cold. I'm actually having it run my playbook, which has all of my preferences of how I plan projects, the key steps I take, what things I consider. Watch what's different. So I would start by telling it I want to plan a project, but it's not going to immediately jump in and start giving me a plan. Instead, it's actually starting by collecting information from me about the project. Now, these questions aren't random. These are based on what I have learned over time are the things that I need to think through ahead of time around a project. And so it's immediately following how my brain and my process already works. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to let it just make assumptions for a lot of this stuff so we can keep going. And then as you can see here, now it's actually clarifying more details about the project. So it's asking me to think through things up front or give it extra context. Now, once I'm done doing that, it's going to confirm to me that this is the project plan, ask me if I'm good with it continuing to go. Then it starts on step two, which is actually brainstorming approaches. So something about my projects is I don't want to just do the first approach that comes to mind. I actually want to think through, are there better ways to approach this project? So that's what the AI is going to help me do. Then next is going through and clarifying the timeline and the tasks. Again, another step that I found is helpful. After it's clear what the project is and what approach we're taking, then actually thinking through all of the work to be done. Then as you can see, step four is where it actually drafts the plan, but that's not all. Because the AI knows about my project from this chat, my playbook actually says for the AI to flag which types of tasks it can go ahead and do for me. So then in step five, as you can see, it's already offering to start on those tasks. The result is this took us minutes. And this plan isn't generic, it's actually detailed and matches not only the context I gave it, but also the constraints and my way of working and the way that I like to plan projects. Because the AI didn't just generate a plan based on its own vibes and opinions, it actually ran my project planning playbook. If this is the first time you're hearing me say that, then here's what I mean. A playbook is a set of instructions that doesn't just brain dump a bunch of information or tell the AI how to do one small task. Instead, it tells the AI how to follow a step-by-step process where it's doing it one step at a time so that it actually sticks to it. Because as you can see, it's telling me which step it's running as it's running it. And that way, you can actually trust that it's doing a good job. And here, I'm running this playbook inside custom GPTs in ChatGPT. You can also run these in Claude. You can put them in automation tools. You can put them in Microsoft Copilot. You can put them in really any tool that can run instructions. But I have my playbook saved in the instructions of a custom GPT so that then whenever I need to plan a project, I just need to go to this custom GPT. I don't need to put any new prompts in here. I can just run it straight from that. And if you're sitting here thinking, what do you mean, Rachel, that I can run my playbook across all of these different tools? Then you haven't heard our philosophy around own the playbook, rent the tech. Because if you playbook it right, you can actually run your playbook in any AI tool. Now, here's the thing I didn't expect when I first built this playbook. I thought that the win was going to be planning takes 4 minutes instead of 30. And yeah, that's really nice, but that's actually not where the 10 or frankly more hours even comes from. This one playbook has impacted everything downstream for me. Before this playbook, I often would avoid planning things properly because it just took so long. So I'd either just do the work myself, or I would hand someone a half-baked brief, and then we would spend a bunch of time going back and forth trying to clarify things as the project went on, which is not a great use of time, right? Now I'm planning projects in minutes with enough detail that someone else can actually help me with them and run with it. Or the AI also can step in and do a bunch of the deliverables. So I'm delegating things that I never would have delegated before because the plan can actually be really clear up front. And so then we actually all go divide and conquer, and there's not a lot of ambiguity or questions left unanswered. Now, I feel like I've become a project machine, and it's not because I'm working harder or our team is working harder, but it's because this one playbook has solved the bottleneck of project planning so that we can actually get so much more done. That's how one document, one playbook has saved me more than 10 hours per week. It's not just about the time on the planning itself. It's about the leverage that opens up when you can actually plan good projects. I know it sounds simple, but this is just one example of operational debt that can be solved by playbooking and then giving that playbook to AI. And let me warn you, because once you start thinking this way, you're going to start seeing playbooks everywhere. So meeting preparation, what are the things that you wish you prepared for meetings every single time? Playbook that. Reviewing deliverables, how do you set the quality standards for any type of work that gets done inside your team? Playbook that, and then use that playbook to review deliverables as a first pass. Thank me later. Reporting, playbook that. Organizing your day, playbook that. Every piece of operational work that's eating your time is a playbook waiting to be built. Now, most people aren't using AI this way, and it's because there are 3 common mistakes or misconceptions that I see that really hold people back from using AI to its full capacity. Mistake number 1 is that you're asking, what can AI do? And that's guiding what you use it for. The real question is, what can I get AI to do? These sound similar, but they're completely different. The first one puts you in the passenger seat because you're waiting for the tool to be smart enough. Meanwhile, people who are thinking like the second one are putting themselves in control. They're putting themselves in the driver's seat. They're deciding the process and what they want the AI to do. They're articulating it, and then they're getting AI to do it. The second mistake I see is you're probably starting from scratch every single time you use AI. You might be relying on what it's remembering about you passively in the background in its memories, and so you think it's kind of learning over time, but you find yourself re-explaining, correcting a lot of mistakes, and feeling like you're dealing with sometimes like an employee who has amnesia. The solution to that, again, is to start playbooking, documenting your process so that you know that you've given what you want AI to do to it and it's following those instructions. Then the third mistake I see is that you might be trying to go too big too soon. You might be hearing about AI agents and automations and Claude Code, and you think that that's your next step. And so you're either trying to build something complex, or you get lost, or decide you're not technical enough to figure it out. Meanwhile, the actual unlock and what we just did today is just running in a document. Yes, you can then take these playbooks and you can connect them to other tools. Like my real project planning playbook also creates ClickUp tasks for me. And then I have other playbooks that are pulling from ClickUp, comparing to my calendar. So you can elevate your playbooks. But if you haven't started on the right foundation, it's going to be really hard for you to build on top of that. Now, every single one of these makes sense given what the internet is telling you to do, but they all share the same problem, which is that you're waiting for AI to figure out how it wants to do work instead of just teaching it how you already work. And that's what a playbook fixes. So here's the simplest way I can explain what a playbook does. Right now, using AI is like having a brilliant new hire who's eager to help you but has no idea how you do your work. It's smart and fast, but every time you ask it to do something, you have to explain in so much detail and go back and forth with it until it finally gets it. And if you don't, it's just gonna guess, and then that guess is generic and completely makes stuff up. A playbook is like the training manual that you're handing to the AI so it doesn't have to guess. It knows what you're looking for and your process, so you stop having to manage it and you just start saying, run my playbook. And just like a real training manual, this playbook will get better over time. So if something gets missed, you can go into the playbook and add a new line. And then now it never misses that again because it's following a playbook that's been updated. So you're not reteaching it every single time. You're actually building a system that learns once and runs forever. This alone is great because the more you can capture in a playbook, the more consistent and fast you can get work done while avoiding what feels like reinventing the wheel every single time you're trying to use AI. Okay, but that's not all, guys. Depending on where you're running your playbooks, you can actually take them a step further and get them to identify where it's off and improve itself for next time. The way to think about this is really simple. So some tools have a wall between the chat and where you can store the playbook or the instructions. And so you can run the playbook and the AI can see the playbook, but it can't actually edit or improve the playbook because there's this wall in between. Again, it's still valuable to use playbooks in those tools, but it just means that you're gonna need to manually update that playbook yourself. But once you get it working well, you don't have to do that again. But there are other tools that have what I consider an open wall between the chat and where you can store these playbooks. And so what that means is the AI can not only read the playbook and run it, but it can also edit itself. And so when something gets missed, you can say, add that to the playbook, and it does. Or better yet, you can build a step into your playbook itself that says, before finishing this run, reflect on whether you learned anything from this scenario or my feedback that should be added back into your playbook for next time. This is the killer move because now the playbook is helping you update itself. So here's your next step. Pick one piece of work that you do most often, write down the steps that you follow when you do it really well, and especially think about what are the gotchas, the things that always get missed. Those all go into your first playbook, and then run it and see what happens. I'm going to include our Quickstart template down below if you need something to help you get started. And I have so many more playbooking videos that I want to share with you guys. So comment below what types of annoying, mundane, or even exciting processes that you would love to see how either I've playbooked or how I would playbook. And then subscribe, of course, so that you get notified. And remember, you can playbook that.